It's time for Mama Bear Donita on the Mama Bear Cancer Support Radio podcast. Welcome to the Sharing Den, where we share cancer stories, products, and information to support anyone going through the journey. We will be there for you. We will be there with you. Now, welcome Mama Bear Donita.
Hi, this is Mama Bear Donita, and you are listening to the Mama Bear Cancer Support Radio podcast on Society Bites Radio, part of the Radio Ear Network family. My podcasts are also available on iHeartRadio, Spotify, Miami and Fort Lauderdale Community Radio, and the SOB Network. And today I want to welcome back Shira. Shira has been on the show a number of times, and we are currently doing a 4-part series on oxidated stress. And I really enjoy having Shira on the show. She makes me smarter, and everybody should be exposed to Shira. So you can meet her if you haven't listened right now. Hi, Shira.
Hi there. Thanks so much for having me again.
Oh, absolutely. And we're talking about oxidative stress and gut health, part 2. And let's just...
You have the guts to go through this show with me?
I think I can stomach it.
Oh, good for you. Okay. We're going to have fun with those little puns today.
So let's talk about some gut health.
Sure. Okay. You know, I'm going to take everybody back just a few years to Hippocrates. Okay. That was quite a few years ago. And Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut. The truth is that we overlook our gastrointestinal system, our stomach, our intestines. We if we want to kind of paint a visual here, we often think of our guts as this empty vessel where plop the food goes into and stuff comes out the other end. But our digestive tract is so much more than that. So for instance, there are over 100 trillion organisms that we play host to. Boy, you thought your last party had a lot of people. But here, there are over 100 trillion organisms that live in the gut, which make up 3/4 of our immune system. So our immune system really begins in the gut. So that's why our gut health is so important for the health of absolutely every aspect of our being, mentally and physically.
Can I get an actual definition of gut?
Yeah, our gut is our stomach and our intestines, and until it comes out the other side.
Okay.
There
I just wanted to, because I'm not ever sure when they refer to gut health exactly what that means. If it means
all of the above.
Does it mean from once you swallow it until it comes back out the other way?
It really means for the gut, not digestion. Digestion starts in the mouth, but gut refers to the stomach through the intestines until excretion. And then it's plumbing after that.
Okay. So let's talk about the role of gut in disease prevention.
Right. Okay. Well, as I mentioned before, there's all these bacteria in the gut. And we have good bacteria and we have bad bacteria. So we know that the digestive tract is responsible for digesting food and hopefully absorbing our vitamins and minerals. But what we have to remember is that because it is step 1 of the immune system, because more serotonin is produced in the gut. In fact, 90% of our serotonin, our happy hormone, is produced in the gut. Really, every aspect of our health depends on it. So when we think of what our immune system does, you know, what we always talk about, that's unbelievable responsibility. So the many ways we destroy our gut health, that is how we also destroy our health. So very often we hear about people suffering with blood sugar problems, diabetes, high cholesterol, obesity. What people don't realize is a dysfunctional gut can be at the root of all of those problems because our bacteria are not working the way they are, most probably because of oxidative stress and inflammation.
And so how do we fix that? Like what tell me about, let's talk about probiotics for a minute. Like,
all right. Well, a lot of people do take probiotics, and the problem with taking probiotics is really the probiotic. We spend a lot of money on probiotics. They're very, very expensive. And we usually tend to go for the ones that has billions and billions of good bacteria. And they tell us about all the strains they have. Here's the problem. We can have all the great intentions in the world, but if those good bacteria are not making it into the small intestine, and I should mention, they don't have the prebiotics to go with the probiotics. So what are prebiotics? Prebiotics are different foods, or it can be in the probiotic, that help us absorb that probiotic. And unfortunately, most probiotics do not contain prebiotics. Prebiotics are good in fiber foods like oatmeal. Oatmeal is a fabulous prebiotic, but most people, the typical American diet, unfortunately, is very low in fiber. So the problem with most probiotics is they don't have what it takes to be absorbed, and they don't make it through the stomach acid, which is a really bad problem, to go into the small intestine where they need to do their magic.
So your probiotic needs to, it doesn't, the price should not be, just because it was super more expensive doesn't mean that it's actually working.
Absolutely. You really have to know what you're looking for when you choose a probiotic. And we can eat certain probiotic and prebiotic foods, but again, we kind of have a vicious circle. If we don't have the gut health, if we have a lot of oxidative stress and inflammation in the gut, then it really destroys our ability, or drastically reduces our ability to absorb the nutrition, to absorb the probiotics and prebiotics that might be in the food.
Okay, so we really need to, you really need to know what kind of probiotic. So what about the ones that say millions and billions and billions of colonies?
Yeah. See, millions and billions does not make a difference. It does to your budget. Like, it really blows your budget. Okay. But to our health, it really doesn't make a difference. But what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you a really gross example here, Donita. Like, it's just because I just have this craving to gross you out right now.
Yay.
Just how important is this concept of gut bacteria to our health? So as I mentioned, gut bacteria and having the good bacteria is important for every aspect of our health. The toxins we ingest in our food, that we breathe in, the immune system, ... So it's so important that we have a procedure out there called fecal transplants, otherwise known as bacteriotherapy, or my favorite, poop in a pill.
Yuck. That's awful.
Okay, that is exactly what it sounds like. Okay, so just
I don't even know that I could swallow it. I think I would gag. Like, there's just no way I could get it down.
Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Okay, so
no.
It's a fecal transplant, and what they do is they take the feces of healthy individuals with good, healthy flora, and it's put into someone who has not so great. Some people call it a reverse colonoscopy, but I don't know.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Really? Like, who did they talk into that?
Yeah, I don't know. Not me, that's for sure. But again, when you think of irritable bowel syndrome and all of these things. Now, I don't mean to be a naysayer here, but let's take this a step further, Donita. If someone has a lot of oxidative stress and inflammation in their gut, what's going to happen to all that good bacteria they just put in there?
I'm guessing nothing.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So therefore, again, to get further to the root, what we need to do is we need to work with people about reducing oxidative stress. Because again, Yes, of course, digestion and absorption of our nutrients is very, very important. But again, look at the massive picture of our health that our gastrointestinal system does. So I just want to give you one more example, totally unrelated to digestion. So we've all heard of gastric bypass surgery, where they take a chunk of the stomach out to give people, to help them lose weight, to help them lose body fat. Okay. Unfortunately, there are still quite a few doctors in many countries that still do gastric bypass as opposed to the many much better choices there are now for weight loss surgery. But what do? They take out a chunk of the stomach. So what they found over the years is a lot of people who have gastric bypass surgery become alcoholic.
Ooh.
And you're like, our gut reaction is that people think, okay, that's because they're replacing one habit, because you can't eat too much once you've had gastric bypass because you will feel sick. So they're replacing one habit with another, you're drinking. No, that's not what it is. What happens is when you do gastric bypass, you're cutting out a lot of the many functions we just spoke about of the gut. We've lost it, including 90% of the serotonin, again, that's produced in the body is not produced in the brain. It's produced in the gut. And
well, that's a common, like, I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but like, I didn't know that until you just said that. I didn't know. I was under the impression serotonin. I mean, I think we've established that medical is not my strong point, but I really thought serotonin was in the brain.
Yeah, there's a wonderful, funny doctor who has a book out there, and it's called Our Second Brain, Our Belly Brain. Right. And he, about 25, 30 years ago now, he discovered this, that most of our serotonin is produced in our gut. So therefore, again, now understand why depression is so strongly linked with our gut health. With inflammation, why oxidative stress and inflammation are not just associated with physical issues, but with depression. So there's these two awesome studies I wanted to bring attention to, one out of Belgium, one is Dutch. And basically what they did is they took many thousands of people who have been diagnosed with depression. And they studied their gut microbiome. And lo and behold, they found, I mean, obviously it's a much more detailed report study than I'm, summarizing here. They are missing two very important microbes that was extremely consistent amongst the people who've been diagnosed with depression versus the people who are happy in their happy place as part of the controls. They have plenty of those microbes. I'm not going to try and pronounce their names because I can't. But the point is that, again, a second study, the Dutch study, was done, which confirmed the same thing. And again, these microbes are destroyed by oxidative stress. So people say, well, smoking, if we quit smoking and we quit drinking and we don't eat processed foods, that's a great start. But that's not, especially as we get older, that's not controlling oxidative stress. So as the study calls it, I love this term, microbial repertoire. When our microbial repertoire is out of whack because more of the good guys are being destroyed and the bad guys are taken over, we have illness.
How do we fight back? How do we get the good guys in?
Well, yes, taking the right probiotics are very, very important, eating prebiotic and probiotic foods. But really the most important part is we have to reduce the oxidative stress in our bodies, which includes in our gut. Because again, oxidative stress, as we've said in many, many shows, is at the root of all of our chronic illnesses, mental and physical, cardiovascular disease, cancers, diabetes, depression, arthritis, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, MS,
Crohn's, lupus. Yeah, it's
autoimmune, and including, as we age, sarcopenia, which I call is the fancy word for use it or lose it, the loss of our muscle mass, and frailty, and